What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Now, this is a response to a video from a YouTuber by the name of King Richez, in which the video is titled, Why Black Men Chase White Women. Now, before I begin this video, this is not taking a shot at King Richez or anyone else, so it's not a beef video, so don't take it like that. This is just a point of correction, showing the stats about this topic, because I was going back and forth in the comment section. I thought, instead of going back and forth all the time, why not just produce a video about this? Because when this conversation gets brought up in the UK when it comes to interracial dating, it seems to be very disingenuous or even completely misleading when it comes to stats. Now, for a while now, when I've been hearing this topic coming up, black men in particular seem to downplay it and say, well, majority of black men and black women are coupled up, to the tune of, I'm hearing 80 to 90%, and it's just the minority who interracial date. And when they mean minority, they usually bring up celebrity couples because that's the go-to focal point for a lot of things that take place. So what black men like to say is, well, that's going to be a minority because they're celebrities due to X, Y, Z. Cool. But very rarely have I ever heard anyone bring up actual statistics to back up these claims. Because when I look at stats, as well as the eyeball test, and when I mean eyeball test, I mean when you go out with friends, family, when you see co-workers who are black and you see their couples, their wives, husbands, whoever, I see a completely different picture. And that's what I'm going to go into today, what that picture actually looks like. But before I do, and before I bring up the stats, I'm just going to play from you a snippet of that video just to show you exactly what I'm talking about and the reason for this response.
And when I go out, I mean, I'm over here in the UK. I'm not sure. I'm imagining you're in the States.
Yeah.
And when I go out here, I can go out and be 5 minutes up the road, and I'll pass two mixed couples, interracial couples, and they'll both be black male and white female. And, you know, any given day of the week, I can go out and see that. And to be honest with you, I don't see Asian women.
Hold on. Your location plays a big part in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you in London?
I'm in London, yes.
Okay. Are you in a part of London which is heavily populated with black people?
Well, southeast.
Yes, then yes, blood. So obviously you're gonna see more black guys walking around than Asian women in general anyway. So obviously the chances of you seeing a black guy in an interracial couple is higher than you seeing an Asian woman in an interracial couple, bro.
That's just anecdotal evidence. Like, if you look at the actual statistics, the number one interracial couple is white men and Asian women. And white men want Asian women too. Yeah, they love Asian girls. I have buddies who are white guys, and all they go for is Asian girls. They freaking love Asian girls. Yeah.
I beg to differ. I think that they
are you going to deny statistics? You can literally Google it right now. The number one interracial couple.
I've heard people quote other statistics that show otherwise, that it is black male, white female first, and then secondary to that.
Fiona, it's not about what people quote. You can look it up on Google, bro.
Yeah, you can look at
what people are saying, bro. These are actual statistics.
Within the UK.
It's actually not even close. The number is not even close.
UK
globally.
Remember, I lived in the UK and America, you know, so I know what I'm talking about.
Well, I can only speak on the UK. I can't speak on
that's why you
America. So
you've all heard the clip. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to post the original video link in the description so you can see the rest of the video for yourself to get proper context, or even more context in case you thought I cut something off for my own benefit. Now, again, I responded myself in a comment thread just to, back up what the caller was saying, the caller Fiona, who was talking about how in the UK particularly, and that's where she was from, a lot of black couples or black people seem to interracial date at a very, very high level and high rate. And again, it got met with in the comment section as well as on the call from both King Richez and the other person on the call, I believe his name was Risen, was that's not true. For the most part, black people stay within themselves. East Asians interracial date at a highest rate, which, to be fair to Risen, he was talking about the US, but King Richez, who's from the UK and as well as lived in the US, he backed up on both sides of the Atlantic. But again, I was met with, when I disagreed and said this is not true, with let's provide some statistics to back up my bias claim. So here we go. Now, the first image on the screen, you will see a breakdown of what the UK calls inter-ethnic relationships, broken down by gender. Now, to back up what Risen was saying on the call, he's right. In terms of East Asians, now we're talking about Chinese sort of groups, their women particularly date outside their race proportionally more than their male counterparts. That is completely true. So I'm not even going to say that's a lie. That's completely true. So that's one point I just want to get out of the way. However, as you can see on the screen, the reverse is true when it comes to black men in the UK. Now, for those who don't know about the UK in terms of how the black population demographic is split up, it's usually split into two groups, but this time it's got three. But it's normally black Africans, Caribbeans, and there's this other group. Now, this other group, this is what I suspect, is those who call themselves British, black British, who don't consider themselves either to be African or Caribbean. It's usually because they've been here for so many generations. They feel ingratiated into the black British culture, as well as keeping their, Caribbean or African roots, but they consider themselves to be black British. So what they will do is they'll put checkbox other and be British. So I believe that is what that group is. So they should be either African or Caribbean, but they're not. They're just split out because that's how it works in the census. But with all that being said, you can see a clear pattern here that the black community has a high rate of interracial dating. Now, if you was to split out that other group and put it into the Caribbean and the African group, you will see how high the percentage really will be. Because if you look at the other blacks and the Caribbean blacks, because the Caribbean blacks have been here for the longest, these both groups are at 60 and almost 50% respectively. So think about that for a second. That's 1 out of 2 black people that you will see out of these two groups who are likely to be interracial dating. Now, that is not a small minority at all. That is not small. 1 out of 2. That is not small. That's half or even more than half, depending on what group you're looking at. So that's how I want to sort of combat this whole talking point of it's a small minority. That's not true at all. Want some more proof? Let's keep going. Now, this is figure 2. And I'm going to post the links to the statistics so you can look at it for yourself, so you can see exactly how it breaks it down, because with these things, they break it down to different categories, which we're going to go into. So I'm going to post that in the description box. But figure 2 shows the same interracial dating, but this time it's broken up by age group, because this is another argument that gets levied in regards to the interracial group, because what people say is mainly the younger age group who interracially date. Now, whenever the census is taken out, that is 100% true. Because when you look at this image on the screen, and keep this in mind as well, I just want to also keep this in mind. This census or this group of data was taken back in 2011, because the census gets taken every 10 years. So the last rounds of census taking was done in 2011. And at that time, the age group who had the highest interracial relationships was the age group between 16 and 24. Now, just stop there for a second. Imagine this group now would be between the age group of 26 to 34 when you add on the 10 years, because this was done in 2011. So right now, this group, who were the highest back then, would now be in the age group 26 to 34. And again, you can apply the exact same logic to the rest of the age groups. So when you look at that in comparison, you look at it compared to what people are saying now, you would say that majority of the millennials now are still interracially dating. Because do you actually think when the census comes out, I'm hoping next year, it's going to show that age group who was 16 to 24, who are now 26 to 34, do you think that's going to dramatically reduce, or do you think that's going to increase, or do you think it's going to stay the same? I'm going to hazard a guess it's not going to decrease. It's either going to stay the same, but I think it's going to increase. But even if you take out that group for a second and you look at the other age ranges, the 25 to 49 range, if you look at the groups, particularly on the Caribbean and the other side, you look at the high rates of interracial dating. Again, this is over 50%. This is not a small minority group. And when you add it all together again, as we saw in the previous image, these aren't small numbers, what we're talking about here, people. This is more evidence to prove against the notion of the whole small rates of interracial dating and how it's a younger age group. No, this is the current age group, this is the older age group, and this is the younger age group, which I guarantee when the next census comes out, it will prove to be a fact. I guarantee it. But hey, again, this is more evidence to prove against that whole talking point, which should be smacked down back now about how blacks in the UK, they don't really interracially date. They stay within their own group. That's not true at all. Now, finally on to figure 3. Now, this is the data again, but this is split by relationship types, because another talking point that gets levied across is regarding the marriage rates and how black folks aren't really getting married as much. They're, shacking up, they're cohabitating more, etc., etc. So this is the last image to also show how that breakdown looks like. And again, look at the image on screen. Look at the numbers. Especially when it comes to the cohabitating percentages. Now, for most groups, I will say this, it seems to be a lot higher in comparison to the marriage statistic. But when you look at the other 2 images that I showed you beforehand, and then when you compound it with this image, what more evidence is needed for you guys to understand that what you're saying is not true at all. It's a false statistic when it comes to the UK and it comes to interracial dating. This is why I truly don't understand exactly what people are talking about. I really, really don't. And this is something which I have seen for a long time, from when I can even remember when I was young, when I used to speak to my family, because my family's been here in the UK since the Windrush. So we've had a lot of conversations about a lot of things. I've seen a lot of talk shows. I've seen it all when Trevor McDonald, when he divorced his wife for a white wife, there was massive uproar. Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank. I've been seeing this for the longest, because it must be because of people who have been in the UK or their family's been in the UK for a long time, because there seems to be a disconnect between that and other people that I'm hearing. I don't know what it is, but this has been happening for a long time, and the levels have been getting up. It's been increasing. And again, who wants to guess? Seriously, who wants to guess now what the numbers will look like when the next census comes out next year, as to whether numbers will be higher or lower? Now, based on the talking points I've been hearing from people in real life, when I see out in real life, on YouTube, on social medias, you can only imagine it's going to get higher for all black groups. And the last statistic I want to bring out, just to crystallize everything, in case people will still try and argue with me about the facts, is the image that you're seeing on screen now. Now, this is the latest numbers about the amount of mixed people in England and Wales. Now, it also breaks it down in terms of the other nations in the UK, but it's not broken down in the same way it's broken down for England and Wales. So I'm just going to exclude the rest of them and only focus on England and Wales. Now, again, you can see exactly how this falls in line with the other statistics that I've shown you in regards to interracial dating. Because when you look at the mixed group in particular, the highest group of mixed is white and black Caribbean. And when you add up white and black Caribbean, as well as white and black African, you will see something that it makes up almost 50% of the entire mixed population. 50. And when this was done, it was noted that this mixed population, or the mixed group, is the fastest growing group at that time. Now, when you consider that black people make up 3% of the population, you can definitely see, using statistics and logic. Now, guys, follow me here. Statistics and logic. Proportionally, if we're 3% of the population, but we make up almost 50% of the mixed group, who at that time are like 2.2% of the whole population, that has to prove to you that the black community overwhelmingly interracially dates. Now, again, keep this in mind now, as you've seen on screen, the last time this data was ran and the census was taken was way back in 2011. So again, any prizes to guess as to what's going to be the case when it comes to 2021? I think it's going to be lower or higher. Come on now, it's definitely going to be higher, and it's definitely going to be a massive increase of what we've been seeing. Because I even know in terms of my wider family and seeing some of the younger ones coming up, they're mixed, not black, mixed. I'm not saying all of them are, but again, 1 out of 2, 60, 70%, most of them are mixed because they're coupled up with non-black women or non-black men. So I wanted to do this video just to clear up the misconceptions, because when it comes to this sort of stuff, no one seems to be bringing actual statistics. People always seem to say, well, people aren't looking at the stats, but neither are you. And no one seems to actually bring up the stats to actually justify what they're talking about. So I thought, here we go. Here's the stats right for you, right in your face. So what are you going to do with that? But the bigger question, and this is the bigger question now, is what does this actually mean for the black community going forward? And why are the numbers so high? Because beneath these stats, there are talking points which I didn't want to really get into. I didn't really want to make my channel into a talking point like this, because it normally gets into this whole black men versus black women, and it gets into a real dragging match, which I don't want to get into. That's not what this channel is really meant to be about. But I may have to do a video just on this, just to talk about this in further detail, because the numbers are very high. And also the impact on the black community, which people don't seem to talk about and don't want to address. Or maybe they just don't even care about it. I don't know. But anyway, this is what this video was there to do, just as a response to that video. Again, all the links to the video as well as my statistics will be shown in the description box, so you can have a look for yourself. So you can not take my word for it. You can look for yourself. And again, finally, this is not a video to fire any shots. I just wanted to try and hopefully put this to bed once and for all. I doubt it will be, but it is what it is. So let me know your thoughts on this. Until next time, I'm out.